Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the Patreons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. Kind of a long video guys, but I wanted to test it out with you. The F-20 TIGERSHARK against 4 different aircraft in dogfights with a friend of mine. So there wasn't a lot of additions for aircraft that we can do this in this patch. You know, we could do one with the Alpha Jet, but I don't think people would care too much about that. But the F-20, we might see some interesting things from it. So at first we are trying against the MiG-29. We had like a couple of test runs before this just to get a little bit of the hang of the, you know, turn speeds of the F-20, etc. And of course, the more we go into the later matches, the better I got with the F-20. It was basically the first proper dogfights that I was doing. And also, I mean, don't take this too seriously, of course, because, I mean, we are not really professional, like, dogfighters, right? So, for example, the MiG-29 should have killed me there back. I mean, I just stalled it out, and yeah, this is the idea of the video. Try to get a little bit of a sense of what are the problems and the good parts about the F-20 in a dogfight, okay, comparing to some of the other aircraft. The first thing that you will realize is that the stall speeds of these aircraft, of this particular aircraft, is a lot higher than some of the others, it feels like. Not maybe not the stall speed itself, but just the speed that the aircraft stops properly flying, you know. Sometimes you can get away with it, but I feel like a lot of times the other aircraft have a little bit of an advantage over me in the sense of nose pulling ability, right? So they can pull a little bit more AOA and get the nose on me, you know, a little bit in a more reliable way than I can with the F-20. But there are some other things that are very interesting to see. For example, the F-20 against the MiG-29 especially, but against some other aircraft as well, the ability that you have to master over here is basically going vertical. We actually tried on the warm-up matches, but I didn't include those because the video would be way too long. I realized that in the raid fight, it loses by a lot against the MiG-29. So don't try to go into, you know, kind of a raid fight or maybe like normal turns horizontally in general. You know, it's kind of an aircraft that doesn't like horizontal turns compared to a MiG-29. While vertically, because of the thrust weight of this thing, it can actually maintain it pretty well. I think one of the reasons here that I won this one was kind of a mistake that he did there. He kind of stalled it out the aircraft and couldn't recover fast enough, you know. So yeah, it was kind of my like ability to not do the same mistake. But to be honest, the limitations that the F-20 has are somewhat similar to the MiG-29 in some areas, and that means that they are very much similar to each other in many instances, okay? So just be aware of that. The amount of turn that these aircraft, I feel a lot more comfortable flying with the MiG-29. It feels like it can maintain a higher speed, but it's not really that, right? The speeds are basically the same. What it means is just that the MiG-29 can maintain a higher AOA pull while in low speeds. That's what it is, basically. And it makes sense. I mean, this is still an F5. It has a much heavier engine on the back, in a kind of backwards kind of point with the center of gravity of the aircraft. So it makes sense that sometimes it's complicated to do certain turns compared to the normal normal F5, right? Because of that. But it's still, I mean, it can pull a lot of G's, it can do very well, but it needs to get the speed. That's the main thing. And even though this engine is a lot stronger than the original F5 engines, the aircraft still struggles to maintain a good energy retention in these intense dogfight scenarios, right? So I always think that if an aircraft has to use defensive maneuvers like this to actually make the target overshoot in some form, it means that the aircraft is suffering a little bit more than the other to actually maintain it. And eventually I get the kill, but it's more due to the fact that I didn't do any mistakes. Even if I don't remember if I actually got the kill in this one, but still, you know what I mean, right? So the MiG-29 and the F-20, they're very like similar in certain scenarios that you can kind of understand why they are 12.0 in the same BR between each other, right? Another little rule that we use is that we don't do head-ons because it's kind of on a luck basis kind of scenario. Of course there is skill in doing head-ons, but we're not trying to see who's better in a head-on, right? We are trying to see who's better in a dogfight here between the aircraft. If there was a way to actually me personally fly the other aircraft while I fly this one and then compare the results, it would be a lot better, because then we have the same skill set, you know. Having different skill sets really change the way that you fly. And of course I'm not even talking about pure skill that you know, like how to, I don't know, you're better than the other pilot. It's not even about that. It's more due to the fact that if you know the aircraft well enough, and if it's an aircraft that actually fits you a little bit more, you will do better. You know, there are different aircrafts, just like there are different tanks, and people like to play with different stuff. So for example, my friend over here, he's a lot better in a Russian aircraft than in an American, because he's more accustomed to using Russian aircraft. Me, I think personally I'm also a little bit more, you know, towards the Russian aircraft in the way that I fly, but it depends on the pilot. There's a lot of people that fly more American aircraft. So these are all little things that we know, and it makes a difference for a dogfight. Okay, so just have that in mind. So let's just stop talking about the performance and talk about the dogfights themselves. So as you see over here, I'm not able to pull enough AOA or nose authority to actually get the kill, and that's a major theme with the F-20 and even the F-5, and it's more due to the small wings. Even though it's a very light aircraft, the small wings really, you know, make you feel it like that. And of course, remember, all of these 4th generation aircraft, they are a lot improved in the sense of the aerodynamically, the aerodynamic, you know, theory that they use. So MiG's, F-16's, F-15's, Su-27's, they pull a lot more than any 3rd generation aircraft. Here again, I mean, it was kind of his mistake. He did the same mistake. He just went too deep into the pull, and it made him lose the match again. So now we were trying with the F-15, which is a completely different beast from the MiG-29, but oddly we kind of had the same result a bit, you know. So you can see the energy of the F-20, that it just goes down very quickly and then it maintains there. So the energy retention while turning, it's not the greatest, and it's, even though you have an amazing thrust weight, you have to be careful with the acceleration and trying to maintain a fairly good speed. I didn't try to use any different types of techniques to pull a little bit less and trying to maintain a little bit more speed. So I should have been doing that a little bit more, but still, as you see, the F-15 is pulling a little bit more than me, and again, I'm in a defensive position over here, kinda, right? He's gaining on me, and I have to try to make him overshoot. So I try to do again the same kind of diving scissors that we did before, right? Basically pulling the air brake flaps, taking the engine off, and he's pulling a lot of afterburner there to make him actually overshoot, and it worked. And As I said on the MiG-29 video, this is going to be a common theme with this aircraft. You are always trying to be a defensive position, and it goes along the lines with my first impressions of this aircraft, that yes, you can beat anything, but you are always kind of in a defensive position. You don't have the energy or the AOA to be more offensively guided when you are playing, right, in a normal match. So if you watched that video, if you didn't, go watch it, but there I just go into a point that in this aircraft you have to play it defensively because you cannot do offensive maneuvers. You just can't. The aircraft doesn't allow you to. So yeah, it's a problem. But as I said in that video, the defensive maneuvers of this thing is just way better than most aircraft that you fight, right? So you can use you know, that to an advantage. And what I mean about that is that you can easily make somebody overshoot with this thing because it doesn't have a lot of energy retention in the turns, right? So it's similar to like flying a Mirage or something like that. Not really like that, but you know what I mean, right? It would be interesting even to test it out with the Mirage. So again, I'm putting myself into a risky position over here to make him gain energy on me and then try to make him overshoot. You know, it didn't properly work. And he managed to actually pull enough AOA to actually, you know, not only maintain the nose on me, but also lose enough energy so that he doesn't overshoot. So you really need to be careful when fighting some of these aircraft like this. So again, we are here with the F-15, right? Again, I might be doing kind of a mistake over here, climbing a little bit and stuff, but to be honest, I mean, it's just, I think it's a better way to do it, but there might be other chances, and I will show in the F-16 part of other types of initial turns that you could do. I know it's not optimal, and that's probably why he's turning so much on me, but I was trying something different because I knew that in the normal fight I would lose. So yeah, that was the kind of the idea, trying to do something different. So again, he's just being able to pull a lot more on me and being able to maintain a low enough energy while pulling so that he can actually maintain on my 6, you know, just maintaining himself. So I'm doing the same strategy as before, putting myself at risk a little bit, but trying to make him overshoot. You know, I was trying to still not fully commit to the overshoot because it wasn't close enough. But of course, it's always kind of a temptation to go fully committing on that and not. And here, I'm basically dead, right? I mean, yeah, I can. I mean, I'm going to try to make him overshoot here, but in any combat scenario, I would be dead over here. So it's more on the fact that the gun on the F-15 is so off axis of the aircraft, of the aiming axis, that he basically missed because he normally doesn't fly the F-15. So it's more due to that, but it would be dead there. So it's always on the limit. You can see that it's always on the limit. This aircraft doesn't, like, you don't have any second to spare on thinking on what you are doing. You're purely flying on instinct here because you don't have the performance to get to these targets. Here, I mean, I tried to do kind of a stall maneuver here, a hammerhead or something, to make me go behind him, but the aircraft just didn't stall very much. I should have just retracted the flaps there. It would have worked a little bit better, and I ended up crashing, but of course I was already damaged on the empennage as well, so it wasn't particularly amazing. So yeah, we try to go against another common enemy that you will be facing, a MiG-23, right? We are putting against the MLD, and as you can see, even with the vertical turn over here, that is not the greatest for the first turn, I still managed to actually make a head-on with him. So it makes sense that I'm just kind of in the same realm of performance as the MLD that I was with the 4th generations, right? So yeah, and of course it's kind of better, right? I mean, the MLD, poor MLD, I mean, he was a little bit too fast over here, but even then, I mean, I'm at 400 kilometers per hour. He wasn't too different from me. So yeah, it's just that the MLD is just not good enough to fight these aircraft, to be honest. And yeah, you can get killed with it, but like, it's it's problematic. It's more, I mean, I would say that even though this thing has a better radar than the MLD will get you in the BVR. In the dogfight, it's pretty difficult, but he can have a chance, as you see over here. I saw that he was kind of fast in coming towards me, so I just made him overshoot. Again, a defensive maneuver against any aircraft in this thing is the best option, in my opinion. And yeah, basically I killed him, so very easy. And then we did with the F-16. The F-16 is another beast. Of course, here it's a block 10, like same BR of these aircraft. To actually, and basically the aircraft that this aircraft kind of fought, I think, in the US to in the program in the US to be, you know, in that place of the F-16, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if it was the F-20 or the YF-17. I have to check, but still, you know, the amount of AOA that the Block 10 can pull is just, there's nothing you can do without the G limitations that he had before with the fly-by-wire system on the F-16. It's just, it's like, it's not even a joke, you know. It's look at that. I mean, still, I'm doing maybe not the best turn here, but he's just in a way better position. He's doing like half the distance in the turn than me, so I just don't have any options here. I try to go in a vertical kind of situation, but as you see, I don't have really the energy for it. I had the air brake a little beyond, but even without it, I mean, I don't have the energy, and I was pretty dead. Trying to make him get closer to try to overshoot, but eventually I just got killed, right? So yeah, the F-16 is just a really amazing beast. And then at the last time, the last dogfight, I tried to do another one that would put me in a better position maybe to actually pull this off. But even then, I mean, I'm getting closer to the head-on itself, but still, he's pulling in one turn a lot more than me. And yeah, it might be better to just do 2 circles, you know. Trying to make him overshoot over here. And I managed to do it. I mean, he's still trying to like make me lose the this energy fight over here, but you just saw the nose going down on this thing. Even though I have flaps and air brakes and everything, the nose doesn't go up, and while the F-16 can still be pulling, right? So it's just not in the same realm of possibilities that you can fight head to head with this aircraft. To be honest, I see this aircraft getting a lower BR depending on how the matchmaking is, you know. That's the thing, they always change BRs depending on the matchmaking and how the matchmaking kind of makes you fight certain aircraft or not, and how the statistics go. But at the end of the day, you know, it depends on the overall ability of players and the matchmaking itself. So for example, if the F-20, even though it has the same BR as an F-16A, got a lot of down tiers, it will remain at 12.0, but if it gets a lot of up tiers, it will get to 11.7 for sure. But yeah, guys, as you saw, it is an aircraft that it is always on the limit. It can be good, but you have to be careful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe.